Nail-biting moments, controversial calls, and enough penalty flags to make you think they were giving them away for free. Jets versus Bills. And let me tell you, this wasn't just another game. It was a masterclass in the NFL, being a game of inches.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is that you see the weight of expectations playing out on the field. The Jets, with a new coach, new offensive coordinator, and Aaron Rodgers, under center, they had a lot to prove coming into this season.
Yeah, everyone was watching to see if Rodgers could bring that Green Bay magic, bring what he had with the Packers to the Jets. And he had his moments. Statistically, his best game yet as a Jet. But the NFL is all about, capitalizing on those opportunities, those crucial moments. And that's where things get a little interesting is one word for it.
This game really exposed a weakness the Jets have been battling really all season. An inability to execute in the red zone. They moved the ball well, between the 20s. But when it came to those crucial scoring opportunities, they faltered. Missed field goals, failing to convert on third downs. That's a lot of pressure on a veteran quarterback like Rodgers.
It's like they say, you can have all the yardage in the world, but if you can't get into the end zone, if you can't score touchdowns, it doesn't mean much. And speaking of pressure, can we talk about that play? The one that had everyone reaching for the rule book, arguing with their TV screens, the Isaiah Davis play fumble or incomplete pass. I mean, come on.
Yes, the infamous fumble that wasn't.
Yeah.
It perfectly illustrates the complexities of the NFL rulebook and why even, seasoned fans get confused sometimes.
It was a total roller coaster. Game on the line, the Jets are driving, and suddenly Davis is wrapped up, the ball pops out, looked like a fumble, sounded like a fumble.
And to be fair, was initially ruled a fumble on the field.
Right.
But then came the replay review.
And this is where John Perry, the Bills' officiating analyst, former referee himself really, earned his paycheck.
Wow.
He was practically begging for a challenge, even though it seemed like an impossible overturn. What did he see that everyone else missed?
Well, you see, Perry, with his experience, he knew this specific rule, it's often misinterpreted. Just because the ball went backwards doesn't automatically mean it wasn't a fumble, especially in the heat of the moment, right? Davis's arm was moving forward as he was being hit. And under the NFL rulebook, that forward motion, regardless of, the ball's trajectory, makes it a forward pass.
Hold on. So even if it looks like a fumble to everyone watching at home, the rule book might see it differently.
Precisely. And this isn't, just some obscure, never used rule either. It's based on, decades of trying to make the game fairer, and it's sparked debate in countless games over the years. This time it went in the Bills' favor, but it just shows how even the smallest detail, that split second of arm movement, can be the difference between a win and a loss.
It makes you realize why they have those replay reviews, even if they can be, a little frustrating for fans on both sides sometimes.
Absolutely. The goal is to get the call right, even if it creates a few extra minutes of tension. And speaking of tension, can we talk about the sheer volume of penalties in this game? I mean, it felt like a flag on every other play.
It's a good thing those penalty flags are reusable, because they were flying. 204 penalty yards combined. You start to wonder if the refs brought enough flags with them.
It was actually the most penalized game of the season so far. Both teams were hit with holding calls, pass interference. You name it. It became a real factor in the game flow.
Okay, but seriously, besides, the obvious yardage, what kind of, impact does that have on the game? It couldn't have helped either team, find their rhythm.
Exactly. Every penalty is like a momentum killer. Imagine you're a team, you're on a roll, driving down the field, and then bam, holding penalty. It can completely derail a drive, swing the momentum in the other team's favor.
And let's be real, all those penalties probably contributed to the fans getting a little restless in the stands, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Hard enough watching your team struggle without feeling like the refs are, part of the opposing team.
The crowd definitely made their presence known. But here's the thing. While all those flags disrupted the flow, they also created opportunities, for some big plays.
That's true. Sometimes a well-timed penalty, it can be a blessing in disguise. But in this game of inches, the Bills had a secret weapon, somebody who, thrives in chaos. Taron Johnson. This was like a phantom making game-changing plays all over the field.
And we can't forget, he missed the previous games, due to a concussion. Talk about a comeback. Seeing him out there wearing that Guardian cap, it adds another layer to his story, a testament to his resilience.
Absolutely. It really highlights, the commitment to safety in the NFL these days, especially after, all the concussion concerns in recent years. But back to Johnson's performance. That interception, he snagged pure instinct. Rodgers, under pressure, tries to make something happen, and Johnson just like reads the play perfectly. It was like he knew what Rodgers was thinking before Rodgers did.
It was a textbook example of how the inches aren't just about physical strength or speed.
Yeah.
It's about mental acuity.
Yeah.
Johnson diagnosed the play like a seasoned chess player, anticipating Rodgers' next move. He noticed the receiver running a slant route, giving him that inside leverage for the interception.
Mike Williams falling down probably didn't help matters for the Jets either.
True, true. But Johnson still had to make the catch, under pressure. And that's what's so impressive about his game. He might not be the biggest guy out there, but his football IQ, his ability to anticipate, react off the charts.
It really makes you appreciate that football is so much more than just like brute force. But even with those flashes of brilliance from Johnson, the Jets still had their chances, right?
They did, and that's, I think, the frustrating part for Jets fans. They moved the ball well. Rodgers threw for almost 300 yards.
Yeah.
But those missed opportunities early on, they really came back to haunt them.
It's like those moments where you like almost catch a pass but you drop it. Those like near misses can really haunt a team, right?
Right.
And this game was full of them for the Jets.
Absolutely. Think about it. A missed field goal here, a failed fourth down conversion there. Those are potential points left on the field. And against a team like the Bills, who can, put up points in a hurry, you can't afford to squander those opportunities.
It really highlights, those fine margins that separate victory from defeat in this league. One decision can make all the difference. But even in a loss, there were some positive takeaways for the Jets.
Absolutely. Rodgers seemed to find his rhythm with the offense, throwing the ball with, more confidence than we've seen in previous weeks. The challenge for the Jets moving forward is consistency.
It's still early in the season, and they have time to turn things around. But this loss to the Bills showed them that in a competitive division, every inch, every play truly matters.
And that's what makes the NFL so compelling, right? This back and forth, the constant adjustments, the fight for every yard. It keeps us all on the edge of our seats.
Speaking of on the edge of our seats, let's rewind back to that penalty-filled first half. It felt like the refs were throwing flags just to like get in on the action. Was it just one of those nights, or is there something more to it?
Well, it's important to remember that officiating, like any aspect of the game, is subject to, human error. Sometimes calls are missed, sometimes interpretations differ. But in this particular game, you could argue that the sheer volume of penalties, while disruptive, it was also a reflection of how tightly both these teams were playing.
So you're saying those penalties, while like frustrating for fans, were also kind of a sign of how intense the competition was on the field.
Exactly. When you have two teams playing at such a high level, fighting for, every inch, that margin for error, it shrinks. And sometimes those tight windows lead to penalties, whether it's holding on a crucial block or pass interference downfield.
It's like they say, iron sharpens iron. These two teams, they brought out the best and sometimes the most frustrating in each other. It's true, when the stakes are this high, every play becomes magnified, right? But this game wasn't just about penalties and near misses. It was a reminder that sometimes the difference between winning and losing, it comes down to something almost intangible.
You're talking about those inches again, but in a different sense this time, right? Not just the physical ones on the field, but the mental ones.
Exactly. The mental toughness, the ability to stay focused, stay composed when the pressure's on. And the Jets, despite showing those flashes of brilliance, they seem to let those missed opportunities really get to them.
That was the best of them, right? The NFL season, it's a marathon, not a sprint. It's about learning from those close calls, making those crucial adjustments, and coming back stronger the next week.
So for the Jets, it's back to the drawing board. What can they take away from this loss as they move forward?
Well, they got to find a way to translate those yards into points. They moved the ball well against the Bills, but they stalled out in the red zone too many times. Coach Sale and his staff, they've got their work cut out for them.
And let's not forget, the Bills had their own struggles in this game, too. It wasn't a picture-perfect win for them by any means.
That's what's so great about the NFL, though, right? Any given Sunday, any team can pull off an upset. The Bills were the favorites coming in, for sure, but they had to fight for every single inch against a very determined Jets team.
It makes you think, in a league where the talent gap is so small, those inches, those tiny margins of error can make all the difference. Is it luck? Is it skill? Is it coaching? What separates the teams that consistently find a way to win week in and week out.
It's probably a combination of all those things, honestly, plus
Yeah.
a healthy dose of resilience, maybe a little bit of luck along the way. This game, it was a microcosm of that. A few plays here or there, and it could have gone either way. That's why we love this game.
Absolutely. Jets versus Bills, a game that reminded us that in the NFL, every inch, every play, every decision can be the difference between victory and defeat. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. Until next time, keep those thinking caps on.